Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Real Reviews by Loukprop, and today we are going to go through a luxurious development. Wait, let me get into my luxurious voice. Canninghill Piers, one of the most sought after integrated development happening at Clarke Quay. So without further ado, let's go. So as per usual, we'll be assessing based on these 5 main factors: location and accessibility, development quality and facilities, competitive pricing, rental yield, and lastly, stack selection. Right. So for the first point, location and accessibility. Now, for Canninghill Piers, you can see this is the location on the map. Right, it's right here, right beside Fort Canning MRT. Now, in terms of district, currently right now, Canninghill Piers is on District 6, which doesn't have a lot of condos inside District 6, but we'll go through that a little bit later. If we look at the location by itself, we'll go through one by one. So first thing we need to know, Canninghill Piers is currently standing on top of what was previously Liang Court. So they've already taken down Liang Court, they want to rebuild on top of it. It will be an integrated development that will include hotels, mall, residential, it will link to the MRT station, which beside it is Fort Canning MRT station. So accessibility wise, in terms of public transport, very accessible. If you were to look at Fort Canning, if you are actually working inside the business district, it is probably only 2 to 3 stops away and you will be able to come into Clarke Quay or Chinatown Point. And if you want to go down a little bit more, downtown area is here as well. So this entire business district is very, very accessible to Canninghill Piers. Also, if you want to go to town area, we can have a short walk down from Canninghill Piers. You can walk down to Clarke Quay Station, right, which is 1 station away from Dhoby Ghaut MRT Station. So as you can see here, Dhoby Ghaut MRT Station is actually on Orchard Road. So you are 1 station away from the entire Orchard Road belt, the shopping district of Singapore, which means that in terms of amenities, in terms of dining, entertainment, shopping, all right, whatever you need done in the area is within minutes away from you, either from a train ride or you can even walk to Orchard Road along this road. Right, you can walk all the way down to Orchard Road area. Right, so accessibility wise, in terms of expressways, you are minutes drive away from CTE to ECP and eventually to CT to AYE as well. So wherever you need to get to from Canninghill Piers is actually very, very accessible and very, very short drive away, MRT or walk. So in terms of amenities, food, shopping, entertainment, like I said earlier on, you are just 1 station away from Orchard Road belt of shopping district. You are also a short walk away from Robertson Quay area. Funan Mall is here. Alright, you have the Raffles City Shopping Centre here as well. Also, if you want to get to MBS, you have the downtown line as well. That is about 4 stations away. 1, 2, 3, and 4 stations away to Bayfront MRT, which will get you to Marina Bay Sands. Now, if you were to talk about future enhancements or transformation inside the central area here, central region here, we've already talked about the Greater Southern Waterfront in great detail in past videos, so I won't go into too much details there, but just to let you have a note that we are actually not that far from Greater Southern Waterfront. It's actually happening at the bottom here. And actually one of the things that are happening is the Marina East transformation. They'll be extending the Marina Bay Financial Centre outwards. So Canninghill Piers will definitely benefit a little bit from this Greater Southern Waterfront transformation, but that's not the main point. We have to look at the transformation that is happening inside this central region here. Okay, so if we were to go to URA, there are actually 7 key strategies that URA are actually introducing so as to rejuvenate the entire central region. And part of the key strategies is a 7 key strategy you can see here. All right. The aim is to allow it to become even more vibrant by accommodating a wider diversity of users and offering more jobs and business opportunities for the future economy. Right. Part of these 7 key strategies, as you can see here, all right, the ones that are more related to Canninghill Piers, is connecting the parks and open spaces from Orchard all the way to Singapore River. you can take a look at this. They're actually intending to build a sort of a green corridor all the way from Singapore Riverside down to the Orchard Belt. Okay, there will be new waterfront public spaces built as well. More importantly, Liang Court, or what we are calling Canninghill Piers on Canninghill Square right now. It will be built up by 2026, and the new waterfront hotel will be built next to it. There will be a possible green link at Merchant Road as well. That will make it a breeze to walk from Singapore River to Riverside Village and beyond. And also, if you take a look here, they are intending to connect Fort Canning Hill Park, which is just in front of Canninghill Piers, all the way down to Pearls Hill City Park. And in the midst of all this, we are actually cutting through Canninghill Piers as well, as you can see here. Right. So if you are looking at Canninghill Piers, right, as a project, right, it is actually inside the Singapore River planning area. And if we are actually looking at Singapore River, the ones that are truly facing the riverfront, right, there are only really 14 condos that we can talk about. Right. I'll go through that a little bit later when we are assessing the pricing, but just know that this is one of those few rare condos that are facing waterfront and is an integrated development as well. Probably the only thing that I can really nitpick is this. Now if we look at the map here, Canninghill Piers is right beside Clarke Quay, which is one of the main entertainment districts in Singapore, so it may get a little bit noisy if you are buying the units that's directly facing Clarke Quay. Okay, but on the overall, there's really no reason for us to not like this location. In terms of accessibility to amenities, food, dining, entertainment, even to business districts, right? And the fact that it's an integrated development with a mall below it and the MRT next to it, it makes it so much better. So for the score of Canninghill Piers, we'll be giving it 4.5/5. So next point is development quality and facilities. Now, as I mentioned earlier on, this is an integrated development, so it will integrate the MRT, there's a mall at the bottom, there's one hotel, one service residence, and 2 other residential blocks. So I'll go through in detail exactly what they are. So this development is a joint venture between CapitaLand and CDL, and we know that these 2 developers are 2 powerhouses in Singapore's property development scene. If you are looking at the condos that they have built so far, you have condos like Skyview, Interlace, D'Leedon, Commonwealth Towers, Gramercy Park, Nouvelle 18. So they are no strangers to developing good quality condos in Singapore, especially if you're talking about luxury developments. Now the mall will be called Canninghill Square, and it's actually a 3-story kind of a mall. If we can see here, let's take a look at... Now if we take a look at the layout here, you can see that the mall is actually 2 stories above ground, 1st and 2nd story of retail outlets, so on and so forth. And there will be a basement level with food and beverage and supermarket, and the rest of the levels are just car park levels. So for Canninghill Square, it will be a managed mall by CapitaLand, and we all know all your favorite malls like Ion Orchard, Plaza Singapura, Jewel at Changi Airport, so on and so forth. You will definitely know a mall that is managed by CapitaLand, right? Okay, also for Canninghill Piers, they've actually invited a design architect that is world-renowned, BIG, which stands for, try to get this right, Bjarke Ingels Group, right? They are actually a very world-renowned architect who has they have built, Copenhagen at Denmark, Lego House. They have done Via 57 West. I don't know where these places are, but apparently they are very famous. But they have engaged someone to have thought up of the overall design of Canninghill Piers and how it will integrate into the whole Clarke Quay area. Project architect will be DP Architects, and I've said this many times, DP Architects are one of the more award-winning architect firms in Singapore that we have, right? And so later when I go through the facilities, you can start to appreciate how the design intent is for the entire project itself. So let's take a look first at the site plan. Now, as mentioned, there are 4 blocks in total. 2 of the blocks are actually taken up by Somerset Service Residence, and the other block is taken up by Moxie Singapore. It will be a hotel. So these 2 will be separately managed by Somerset and Moxie Singapore. Right, if we are talking about the residential blocks for purchase, it will be block 1 here and block 5. Now block 1 will be a 48-story development, while block 5 will be 24 stories in height. Right, so let's take a look at it separately. they will have a difference in height, and when we look at the overall facade of the whole project, it will make sense to you later on. So 48 stories high, by the way, is one of the highest and tallest buildings we have in front of a Singapore river front. So this will afford you with spectacular views all around Clarke Quay. Now let's take a look at the facilities itself. So there are 3 levels of facilities in Canninghill Piers, one on the 3rd floor, one on the 24th floor, and one on the 45th floor. Let's first take a look at the 3rd floor. We're coming back into the site plan here. As you can see, the 3rd floor doesn't really have much facilities. It's mainly the kids' play area here. There's a bouldering area here and some ladder climb area here. So it's not really exciting. The more exciting facilities exist on the 24th and the 45th floor. So let's take a look at the 24th floor first. Now, one thing that you will first notice, right, is that it is actually 2 blocks, and there will be a connecting bridge in between these 2 blocks. This is on level 24. Now let's take a look at it separately. So as you would expect, there will be a lap pool here. There's a lap pool here. It's an infinity lap pool, and it's actually overlooking the entire cityscape. So it's a really beautiful view from the 24th floor. You will have separate gyms, one here and one here, that will be focused on weight training and cardio training separately. So that's kind of rare in Singapore's condo context. There will be a Sky Gourmet here as well. It's a dining room, fully equipped dining room where you can invite your chef, your friends to come here and party. After this whole situation is over, you can invite big groups of friends. This will be the place you want to invite them to. You also have what they call flexi lounge and flexi pods here, and at the bottom here, right? As you can see, now with a very work from home structure in Singapore, this will be perfect for you. If you're feeling a little bit bored at home, working from home, you can actually go to this flexi lounge and pods to do your work. And also you have your usual function rooms, alright, on this floor and as well as the 45th floor. Later I'll go through that. So one of the more exciting facilities here would be this bridge here. They call it the Sky Oasis, with pools overlooking the entire cityscape, and they actually want it to be there as a part of a cultural keepsake, because if you're looking at the entire Singapore River, there are all these bridges linking the Singapore River from one side to the other side. So this is sort of like a homage to that kind of a structure in Clarke Quay area. Now on the 45th floor, it is where you will find your private club in the sky. So you can see these 2 club rooms here, or in fact, yeah, these 2 club rooms here, 6A and 6B. These will be absolutely perfect for you to host a big party where you can overlook the entire skyline and cityscape. This view will be most probably what you get to see from these private clubs here, and it will give you a spectacular skyline and cityscape kind of view. So the facilities are actually pretty well thought out for all 3 levels, so that you don't find that you are in a boutique kind of condo whereby the facilities are very limited. It's a very well thought out concept altogether. So in summary, because of the experience and the quality that these 2 developers have always been pushing out in terms of their condo developments, and also the fact that they have well thought out facilities, you have amenities and entertainment right at your doorstep that's being built into the project, we'll give this score 4.5 over 5. Now next point, competitive pricing. So to analyze the prices, I will be using a few different angles to look at their pricing in terms of its competitors. So the first angle to look at, now because Canninghill Piers is in the Singapore River planning area, let's take a look at all the properties that are along this Singapore River, in particular those that are actually river fronting. If you take a look at the image on the screen right now, so we're not going to go through all 14 condos because most of them are actually a bit older. They will be about 14 to 40 years old by the time Canninghill Piers actually achieves its TOP. The only one that is relatively new would be Riviere. Right? This condo will actually be about 2 to 3 years old by the time Canninghill Piers reaches its TOP, so it will be a more accurate representation of the price. Another angle we can look at this is to look at the integrated developments that are actually nearby Canninghill Piers. Now some of these are including Warwick Residences, Eden Residences Capital, you have your South Beach Residences, and also your Midtown Bay. So these 4 condos are integrated developments or mixed-use developments. They're actually pretty near to Canninghill Piers. In particular, Eden Residences Capital is actually inside District 6, the same district as Canninghill Piers, and it's only one of 2 condos that are actually existing inside District 6. So District 6 doesn't have a lot of condos, only 2 currently. So Eden Residences Capital will be a very good comparison because it in itself is also a mixed-use development that is near an MRT. So let's take a look at their prices. Now, if we were to look at all these condos that we've been talking about, South Beach, Warwick, Eden, Midtown Bay and Riviera, we can see that their average pricing is about 2,006 to about 3,005 per square foot. You know, it can go as high as 4,000 to 4,000 plus per square foot as well. So what is the price for Canninghill Piers currently? The price is between 2,007 to 3,003 per square foot, which in my opinion, if we were to compare with all these other condos, it does make sense and it is somewhat reasonable in terms of its pricing because they are actually pricing themselves below all the other competitors that we are seeing here and pretty close to what Riviera is actually pricing itself at. And Riviera is actually not mixed use or integrated development. So I would go as far as to say Canninghill Piers makes a better development than Riviera. So in terms of its pricing, I would think comparing to these prices, it's actually pretty attractive, pretty reasonable. However, that's just 2 angles that we're looking at. Now let's take a look at our third angle. Now the third angle we are going to be using is within a radius of 1 kilometer around Canninghill Piers, what are the condos and what are the prices? There are a lot of older condos in the region, so we're going to be only using condos that will be about 10 years difference from Canninghill Piers when it achieves its TOP. And if we were to do a location scan and search, right, based on 1 kilometer in the last 12 months of transaction around Canninghill Piers, we will find that these are the condos right now that will be about within 10 years of age difference. As you can see here, we are looking at prices between $1,009 to as high as $3,400 in terms of average pricing to max pricing. All right. In particular, I think we have to consider the age as well. The newest one that we are looking at is Martin Modern. Currently, right now, it's selling at about 2007 in terms of average pricing, as high as 3003. So if we were to compare based on these condos, you can see that actually Canninghill Piers does seem a little bit high in comparison. But to be fair, these are all, other than Eden Residences, right? These are all not mixed use or integrated developments. So Canninghill Piers being an integrated development, and it's the newest one in the area currently, I would think that it deserves the premium of about 300 to 400 per square foot above these other condos that we're looking at here. So on overall, although I want to give a very high score in terms of pricing, but I would think the pricing is reasonable, average, and it's a good pricing to go into. So for the score, it will be 3.5 over 5. Let's take a look at rental volume first. So we will be using the same properties we used earlier on, in the sense that within 1 kilometer of Canninghill Piers, what are the kind of properties that are within 10 years difference of age. So we can see here, the rental volume is as such. Okay, now if we look at these 5 condos, so Martin Modern actually TOP this year in September. So this rental volume is for September and October. So within 2 months to be able to rent 50 units is really quite good. And if you look at the rest, the Rise at Oakley Residences, 80, all right, this is out of 120 units in the Rise. So this 36 out of 45 units in Oxley Edge. This 15 units out of 18 units in Aspen. And this is 9 units out of 39 units in Eden Residences. Now, do take note, Eden Residences, they only have units that are above 2,100 square feet. So for a size this big, they still can rent out 9 units out of 39. That's like 25% of the development being rented out. So what we're seeing here is that within 1 kilometer radius, those that are slightly newer in terms of their property age, they are able to rent out 25 to 80+% of the condo. So it's pretty impressive in terms of rental volume, and it's most likely because it's very near to the business district. So there's a lot of rental demand from that area itself. So if you look at Canninghill Piers by itself, I think it will be a little bit more attractive than these other condos that we're looking at here because number one, integrated development, and it's also very, very near to the business district. So let's take a look at the actual rental prices. If I want to make a fair comparison, I think I would have to use the newest one that's in the region, which is Martin Modern. So taking a look at Martin Modern, let's take a look at their two-bedders. Their two-bedders are actually between 4,400 to about 6,500. Right, so this is the range of rental you can get for a two-bedder in Martin Modern. Now, if we use this kind of rental conservatively, now if we were to take these rental rates and use it on Canninghill Piers, we know that Canninghill Piers, their two-bedders are going to be from 2.2 million to about 2.9 million. This means that using these rates, we can achieve a rental yield of about 2.4 to 2.6% rental yield, which is still pretty much okay. It is acceptable, although not the best. So my score for rental yield here would be 3/5. So the last point, stack selection. Now for those who are new here, we usually do our assessment of stack selection based on these factors. View from the unit, block to block distance, north, south, east, west facing, the noise level and unit layout efficiency. So for Canninghill Piers, we'll look at stack selection from these two tiers, up to the 24th level, and the second tier will be 24th level onwards. Okay. Now, if we look at units up to 24th level, these are your ideal stacks and not so ideal stacks. For the next tier, above 24th level, these are your ideal stacks and your average stacks. So based on the average stacks and the ideal stacks in the entire development, my score for Canninghill Piers in terms of stack selection is 3/5. So taking into account all the various factors that we have just talked about, we can see that the overall score on average for Canninghill Piers is 3.7/5. So as the score suggests, and in my opinion, Canninghill Piers is actually quite a good project to go into. Now this video will be out after the launch. So have you bought in? If you have, do you feel relief after watching our review video, or feel like you missed out something, right, if you haven't bought into it yet? Leave a comment in the comment section below if you want us to review other projects. Let us know what you want us to review. And also don't forget to like the video, share the video and subscribe to the channel most importantly. We'll see you in the next real review video. Bye!